Hey guys, so if you're watching this video, I'm imagining it's because at some stage you plan a trip to Mexico, and I thought I would try and help you out by giving you a kind of list of tips that I follow or followed when I was planning my trip to the city. So just to let you know beforehand, I will also write a written post with this with a little bit more detail and a tip section, so you'll also be able to check if you miss anything in the video. You can go and check that as well. So first of all, what kind of trip is it that you're going to be taking? Is it a business trip? If it's a business trip, maybe you only have 1 day, 2 days, a couple of hours in between meetings to see the city. So that's obviously going to be important. Are you a backpacker who has a whole month to spend exploring everything the city has to offer? Are you a foodie who's coming, organizing their trip based on kind of markets and restaurants? So that's the first thing I would think about. What's my objective? Second of all, based on those objectives, I would read as many tour guides and information as I can and write down the places that are the must-sees for me on my trip. So I did that before I came. I noted, right, this one definitely, this one maybe if I have a couple of extra minutes or a couple of extra hours. I would do that. I would make a list because that's going to help you plan your itinerary. So climate is really important. So depending on, maybe your trip is at a certain time of year because that's when certain things are happening. You're coming for a festival or an event. So just check, depending on the time of year, obviously the weather changes in Mexico, and it changes a lot more drastically than I thought when I first came. I thought I was coming to the kind of eternal sunshine. So rainy season, you're going to need waterproofs. In the winter, it can be really hot during the day. It can get really cold at night. So you need to make sure you're prepared for that. And springtime and autumn is usually just beautiful weather and sunshine. So the other thing to do with climate that some people don't consider is the altitude. Mexico City is 2,300 meters above sea level. That is so high compared to other countries. So if you imagine you're in this city so high up, and some people might have health problems that are affected by the altitude, by pressure. So check with your doctor if that might be an issue for you. For the rest of us, you might feel a little bit out of breath. You might think that you're out of shape and need to get into exercise. Don't worry, it is the altitude. That's my excuse anyway. You might get a little bit dizzy at the start. So just be aware of those things. Another thing that some of you might be worried about is how you're going to get around this giant metropolis. And I was certainly worried about that. And the great thing about Mexico City is when you get here, there's no reason for a tourist to see the whole city. In fact, most of the main sites are kind of based in 5 or 6 neighborhoods that are all right beside each other. So rather than imagine you're coming to a massive metropolis, it's almost like coming to a very manageable city with excellent public transport. You can take the metro bus, the long distance bus services all leave from Mexico City. There's 4 terminals, north, south, east and west. So transport is not a problem at all. And another thing, when you're coming in on the airplane, they're going to give you your immigration documents. So if you're a tourist, you'll get a tourist visa. If you're here on business, just check, do you need a special business visa if you're going to be carrying out business activities here. But for the rest of us, you'll fill out your little tourist visa on the airplane, and you cannot lose this. Please listen to this one piece of advice because I've heard so many horror stories. If you lose this little card and you don't realize until you get to the airport, you have to go to a different part of the airport to immigration, go through a whole process, pay a fine before you can fly out of Mexico. So you can even miss your flight if you haven't made sure to look after that little card before you get to the airport. So that's really important as well. Oh yeah, your return flight. So I'm reading a lot about this recently. A lot of people are saying that when they're boarding their flight from the States, they wouldn't let them board unless they had a return flight out of Mexico. So check that with your airline because that could be a problem when you get to the airport if you haven't budgeted for that. So definitely check with your embassy and airline. I think that's really important. So what else? Budget. So all of you obviously are going to have different budgets. I can't really advise you too much on that, but rest assured that there will be something in Mexico for every budget. So for food, activities, you're going to find tacos for less than $1 to Michelin star hotels. Budget's obviously going to affect your accommodation as well. You'll find every kind of accommodation imaginable, from backpackers hostels to 5-star hotels to bed and breakfast. So that's something else to consider. I would have my accommodation sorted before I come here, although Mexico City has so many different hotels and things. You probably will find one if you arrive on the off chance, but I would sort it before I come. And things like telephone and Wi-Fi. So you'll find Wi-Fi everywhere, even in public parks, which I find really interesting as well in Mexico. Most restaurants and bars will have Wi-Fi. They'll give you the password as long as you're purchasing something. And telephone. I bought a SIM card when I came here and I was lucky it was compatible with my cell. Not all SIM cards in other countries are compatible with all cell phones, so just be careful with that. You buy a really cheap cell phone here to use during your trip, and you'll also be able to buy phone cards to use the public phones here as well. So last but not least, money. No need to worry. Once you get here, you will find every international bank. You'll find countless ATMs to get money. What I find easiest, rather than carry around a lot of cash, I have just used my debit card and I've taken the money out of my bank account from home, or I've used it to pay. Most places will accept credit and debit card unless you're buying food at a food stand in the street or maybe some crafts at a market. Then you will need cash, but no problems at all. You'll be able to change traveller's checks, foreign currency. I don't think you'll have any issues with that whatsoever. I've mentioned it in my second video, so if you want to check the tip section of the second video. And talking about the other videos, if some of you are only watching this as your first Chloe video, just to let you know that there's a whole other series of videos behind this one that give you tips about everything you can imagine in Mexico. So I would go back and look over those and read my written posts and my tips as well, and I'm sure you won't have any doubts whatsoever after going through the whole blog. If you do have any questions whatsoever, contact me. There is no problem whatsoever. You can contact me by all the usual social media or by the blog itself, and I would be very happy to give you any advice on your trip in Mexico City. But for now, that is goodbye from me. So ciao.